Okay, in this lesson 12.2, Big Ideas Math, we're going to be learning about how to find the surface areas of prisms and cylinders and composites on the back. This will take a while. The prism formula for the lateral surface area, lateral means the sides, and the total surface area of the figure is shown by this. P stands for perimeter. H stands for the height, and the big B stands for the area of the base. So let's try one of the prisms here. So I'm looking at a prism. The first thing I want you to do is shade the base in. Because of the way it looks, a rectangle can have any two opposite sides act as the base. I'm going to count that side and this side as my bases. So those are the two bases in the lateral area of the four rectangular sides. So I write the formula down first. The total surface area is PH plus 2B. B stands for the area of the base. This is a rectangular base, so it's going to be little bh. So in place of there, I put little bh, just like our formula for the area of a rectangle. Now let's plug it in. The perimeter of the base is 10 plus 12 plus 10 plus 12, which is 44. The height of the prism between the two bases is 20. So that's the lateral area. PH is the lateral area, plus 2 times the area of the base. The base is 10 times 12. That's the area of this base, 10 times 12, which is 120. Now we just multiply it out. 44 times 20 is 880. 2 times 120 is 240. And if I add those together, I get 1120 feet squared. So now let's go over what's happening here. PH is the lateral surface area of the prism. That's the sides. So that's 880 is the lateral area. 240 is the area of the two bases. That's the little rectangle here on the other end at this one here. Together it makes a total surface area of 1,120 feet squared. So that's what you do when you have a prism. Now let's try this prism. Okay, this is still a prism. It's a triangular prism, and in a triangular prism we first have to find, we got the height between the two bases. I'm going to shade them in. We got the height between the two bases. We have this, but we're missing this side. So using the Pythagorean theorem and rounding to the nearest hundredth, we've got 2 squared plus 7 squared. Take the square root of 53 and round to the nearest hundredth, 7.28. So that's the length of the hypotenuse. Now we can do the formula. PH plus 2B. Surface area equals PH plus 2B. The perimeter is 2 plus 7 plus 7.28, which is 16.28. Times the height of the prism is 6. That's the distance between the two bases if I were to stand it up. Plus 2 times, now the type of base this is a triangle. It's just a regular triangle, so in place of there, we put 1/2 BH, whatever that is. So the area of the base would be 1/2 times 2 times 7. Half of 2 is 1. 1 times 7 is 7. So we just multiply it out now. The total surface area is 16.28 times 6. plus 14 is 111.68. That's the centimeters squared. That's the total surface area of all 5 sides of this figure. 97.68 comes from the pH, which is the lateral surface. That would be the 3 rectangular sides. 14 would be the area of the 2 triangular bases. So remember, when you work out this big formula, you're actually getting the lateral area, which is the pH, and the total surface area, which is the lateral plus the 2 bases. So these 2 problems use that formula. Now, next one is going to be using the cylinder formula. In the cylinder formula for lateral area is 2 pi times the radius times the height. And for the total surface area, it's 2 pi RH plus the 2 bases, 2 circles. So I write the formula down. I'm going to write it over here for both of them. That's the formula I'm going to use for both of these because they're both cylinders. So here's the first one, and we leave our answer in terms of pi. So we got 2 times pi times the radius of 4 times the height of the cylinder, which is 9, plus 2 pi times the radius squared. 4 squared is 16. 2 times 4 is 8. 8 times 9 is 72 pi. 2 times 16 is 32 pi. So the total surface area is 72 plus 32, which is 104 pi feet squared. Now, if I ask you for the decimal, which you have to be able to do that too, you just type it in. 104 pi is about 326.73. That's the total surface area. So again, this formula does the same thing as the other formula. The first part of it represents the lateral surface area. This is the 2 bases or 2 circles. All together, that's the total. So that's the lateral area, that's the 2 bases, and together that makes the total surface area. Let's try the next one. Now sometimes you have to do the net. So this is the net of a cylinder. We can still do the same thing. Surface area equals 2 pi times the radius, which would be 3, times the height of between the 2 bases. If I were to draw a cylinder, the height would be 9, plus 2 pi times the radius squared. 3 squared is 9. 2 times 3 is 6, times 9 is 54 pi. 2 times 9 is 18, so you get 18 pi. So the total surface area is 72 pi meters squared. As a decimal, 72 pi is 226.19 meters squared. So this is the total surface area in terms of pi and as a decimal. This is the lateral surface area. You have to pay attention. That's the lateral surface area. This is the area of the two bases, 18 pi. Together, that makes the 72 pi for the total surface area. Okay, so you've got the basic formulas down. Now, these formulas are written right here also. The prism and the cylinder. The formula's right here on your formula chart, so you have the formulas to look at. Now, let's get to the harder problems. Those are the basic formulas that you need to be able to work out. Backside. So this is a composite figure. So to find the total surface area, if you were to wrap this up in wrapping paper, how many square centimeters of wrapping paper do you need? Well, I first look at the shape, and I'm thinking to myself, I see 2 cylinders. So I know I'm going to add the total surface area of 2 cylinders, but these cylinders touch, so I have to subtract out some information. So let's try this first. The total surface area of a cylinder is right here, the same formula we did before. Surface area equals 2 pi r h plus 2 pi r squared. So that's the little cylinder on top. Now I have to do another one of them. 2 pi r h plus 2 pi r squared. That's the surface area of the big cylinder on the bottom. However, we don't have to paint or we don't have to wrap where they touch. They touch right here where the little cylinder touches the top of the big one. So I'm going to subtract out the little circle of the bottom of there in a little circle size from the top of the big one. Because wherever they touch, two surfaces are being covered up. The little circle there and then the little circle that it's touching here. So I can subtract out my two little circles, which would be here, two bases. So I don't need that. So this is going to be the lateral surface of the little one. This would be the lateral surface of the big one. This is the two bases of the big one. So let's do the formula. Surface area equals 2h times the radius of the little one times the height of the little one plus, now I'm on the big one, 2 pi times the radius of the big one times the height of the big one. Now there's the two big bases, 2 pi times the radius squared. Radius squared is 16. So when I work this out, I get 2 times 1.3 is 2.6 times 5 is 13 pi. 2 times 4 is 8, times 5 is 40 pi. 2 times 16 is 32 pi. 13 pi is the lateral surface of the little cylinder. 40 pi is the lateral surface of the big cylinder. 32 pi is two big circular bases. Altogether, the total surface area, if I were to wrap this, would be 85 pi centimeters squared. Now you have to write this down very neatly and do a good job or you won't be getting credit. I'm going to be looking at your note page, so make sure you're doing it. Now this one's a little different. This has a rectangular shaft that runs through the middle. Since the rectangular shaft runs through the middle, you have to paint the shaft on the inside. So let's see what we need in this problem. Well, first thing we need is we need the lateral surface of the cylinder, which is 2 pi r h. We also need two big circles for the two bases, 2 pi r squared. Then we need only the lateral surface of the rectangular prism, which is just pH. Because since it's a hole at the top and bottom, there are no bases on the rectangular prism. So we only need the lateral surface of it. And we're going to have to subtract out the openings from the big circles. So the openings would be two little rectangles. So 2 base times heights. Now let's plug numbers in. 2 times pi times the radius of the circle is 6 times the height of the cylinder, 12, plus 2 pi times the radius squared, 36, plus the perimeter of the little square is 3 plus 4, 7, and 7 make 14. The height of the rectangle is 12. Now we have to subtract out the two holes. So that would be 2 times 3 times 4, which is 12. So that's what we should have. Now let's put it in terms of pi. 2 times 6 is 12. 12 times 12 is 144 pi. 2 times 36 is 72 pi. Plus, now these are just numbers. 14 times 12 is 168. and 2 times 12 is 24. So in terms of pi, we're going to combine our like terms. These are the pi terms. 144 pi plus 72 pi is 216 pi. And these are the number terms, so I can actually subtract them. 168 minus 24 is 144. So this is our answer, 216 pi plus 144 meters squared. As a decimal, it would be 226 pi plus 144. 853, actually 854.00 meters squared. That's the surface area of that figure. So as you can see, these require big formulas. And remember, I told you that this is going to be harder. So make sure you understand how to write your own formulas, because you're going to have to do that on a daily basis. Does anybody have a question? Actually, I messed that up. It's 216 pi. I put 226. 216 pi plus 144. So the answer should be 822.58. Remember, I just messed that up. I just corrected it. So that's the total surface area. Okay, let's go to next two. So this time it says, describe how the change of dimensions affects the shape. Well, if you double all dimensions, notice the key word is what? Double all dimensions. And we talked about this before. In area, if you double all dimensions, then perimeters would be doubled and areas would be that number squared. So take it and square it and you get times 4. So that's your answer. If you double all dimensions and you're talking about the surface area, then it would be times 4, quadruples. So that's the easy one. Why is it easy? Because of that one key word that says all. Now, the hard one. This is the last problem, and then we'll shut it down here. Multiplying the length by 2 and the height by 3. So I know this is harder because of what it is. So what I have to do is I have to work out two problems. The first problem is to find the total surface area of this rectangular prism. There's the base, there's the base. This is 8, and so is this, because the little hash marks tell me. So the total surface area is equal to PH plus 2B. Surface area is equal to, the perimeter of the base is 8 times 4, which is 32, times the height of 15, plus 2 times the area of the base would be, what goes in place of the big B? The little BH, because it's a square base or rectangular base. So that'd be 8 times 8, 64. So let's multiply this out. 32 times 15 is 480. 2 times 64 is 128. And if you combine that, that's 608 yards squared. That's the surface area. Now we need to redo the figure. So I would take your template and quickly draw another little shape. And I would love to do that here. I'm going to just do it freehand because it's going to be too big. So I've got this. I have another one. I want to multiply the length by 2. So there's the width, there's the length. So 8 stays the same. This would change to 8 times 2, 16. The height by 3. 15 times 3 is 45. Now I have to do the same formula. Here's the formula. Surface area is equal to the perimeter of the base. 8 plus 16 is 24, and 24 makes 48. The height is 45. Over here, plus 2 times the area of the base. The area of the base is 8 times 16. 128. So 48 times 45 is 2160. 2 times 125, 128, is 256. Add them together. And you get 2416. Now, take this number, the ending number, and divide it by the starting number. And you get 3.97. So it's approximately a multiplier of 3.97 times as big. Okay? So that's how you work these problems. When you go to big ideas, you have to follow the directions written on the board or on Blackboard, which is draw all the figures in class with a straight edge first. Then when you go home, you have the scrambled answers on Blackboard that you can look at while you work the problems. Look how much work is shown on each of these problems. You need to be showing that much work. That's why I only gave you 12 problems. There's only one assignment. Okay, on your marks, get set, go.